Let's take a moment to reflect on the simplicity of daily rituals. In the early mornings, I used to brew coffee, sitting quietly, listening to the hum of the machine. The aroma filled the air, reminding me of years past, of shared moments with someone who used to be by my side. And yet, now, it's just me and the silence, the echoes of what was. But as I sit here, I realize that even this silence has something to teach me. This digital space I'm in now, a space of reflection where I scroll through memories of what once was, shows me that loss is never just about what's gone. It's about the digital footprints, the moments frozen in time that continue to breathe lifelong after the departure. I used to think that these small moments, shared laughter over texts, simple video calls were insignificant. But now I see them differently. They are the moments I return to when the silence feels too loud. After the divorce, after everything fell apart, I found myself staring at the screen more than ever. The silence was unbearable. The same devices we used to talk, to share our lives, now felt like empty vessels. I remember scrolling through the photos, reading old messages, moments of joy that now felt bittersweet. And yet, in this silence, I began to realize something profound. The smallest gestures, the most insignificant messages, held a depth I never understood before. It was a simple text. "I'm here for you." Those words, digital and fleeting, echoed louder than any conversation we had in person. The screen, once a symbol of disconnection, now became the vessel of my healing. A reminder that even in the absence, love finds a way to linger. It's in these moments, these simple digital memories, that I began to rebuild, step by step. Sometimes it's the smallest things that hold the greatest power. One evening, I received a text from a friend, a simple, "How are you?" followed by a meme that made me laugh. The laughter didn't feel forced, it felt like a release. And that's when I realized grief, while it can overwhelm, also leaves room for small acts of connection. It's easy to forget that in the digital world, those small messages matter. They matter because they bridge the gap between isolation and connection, between silence and communication. The simplest moments, moments that don't demand attention but quietly exist, are the ones that stay with us long after the conversation has ended. The small fleeting moments that once seemed trivial are now the pillars of my healing. I began to understand that the healing process was not just about moving on, but about finding peace in the digital traces that remained. The memories shared in text messages, in photos, these were not just remnants of the past, but reminders of the life I once had, the connections that were real, even if the relationships were no longer intact. I've come to realize that sometimes, the digital world offers more than just a means of communication. It offers us a space to remember, to reflect, and to find comfort in the absence. When my ex-partner and I divorced, I thought I'd lose more than just the person. I thought I'd lose the memories, the shared experiences, but instead I discovered that the digital presence, the images, the messages, the traces of our time together, gave me something unexpected: acceptance. As the days passed, I found myself drawn to the quiet spaces of the digital world. I would wake up and check the messages, nothing new, nothing that mattered, but still I found comfort in the stillness, in the routine of logging on. The digital world was no longer just a place of noise, of chaos. It became my sanctuary. The world outside was moving on, but I stayed in this stillness, this space where I could revisit old memories, old emotions, and yet find something new in them. The silence wasn't empty. It was filled with possibility, with the space to reflect, to heal, and to grow. In the quiet of the digital space, I began to rebuild myself, step by step. moment by moment. In the days following the divorce, I would often revisit old photos, old messages. At first it felt like a painful exercise, like reliving the moments I wanted to forget. But then, I began to see something else. These digital memories weren't just about the past. They were part of me, part of my journey. I realized that healing wasn't about forgetting, it was about remembering and finding strength in what had been. The digital world, though once a reminder of loss, had become a part of my healing. It was a space where I could find strength in the simplest moments, in the texts, the videos, the photos, and in that space I began to rediscover my purpose. In a world where everything is constantly moving, it's easy to get lost in the noise. Social media, news, notifications, they all demand our attention, all the time, but I realize that healing, true healing, doesn't come from constant engagement. It comes from disengagement. It comes from finding peace in the quiet, in the moments of solitude where we can reflect, where we can connect with ourselves. I started to turn off the notifications, to step away from the noise, and in that silence, I found clarity. I realized that my healing process wasn't just about the digital world, it was about learning to embrace the stillness and the silence. And it was in that silence that I finally found the strength to move forward. It's funny how small acts of kindness, messages, a call, a gesture, can change everything. After the divorce, I began reaching out to others who were going through their own struggles. I would send a simple text, offer a kind word, or share something that might bring comfort. And in doing so I realized something profound. Helping others heal, helped me heal too. The digital world, once a place of pain and loss, had become a place of connection, a place where I could offer and receive kindness, compassion, and empathy. The small digital moments, those acts of care, became the foundation of my healing journey. The more I gave, the more I received. The digital space became a place where I could find strength not only in my own healing, but in the healing of others. It wasn't just about me anymore. It was about the community I was building, the support we were offering each other. In the process, I discovered that the digital world, for all its flaws, can be a source of great strength and healing. The connections we form, the small acts of kindness we share, can have a profound impact, and in that I found my strength. Not in the absence, not in the loss, but in the connection we continue to share. The more I reflected on my journey, the more I realized how much the digital world had shaped my healing. I had started this journey feeling alone, disconnected, but through the small digital moments, texts, photos, messages, shared videos, I had found my way back to myself. I had rediscovered my purpose, my strength, and my community. And as I continued on my journey, I realized that this digital legacy, these small acts of connection, were what had truly transformed me. Through the digital world, I had found a new sense of hope, a new sense of self, and a new sense of connection. Now, as I stand here reflecting on my journey, I want to invite you to reflect on yours. What are the small digital moments that have shaped your healing? What are the messages, the photos, the shared experiences that have helped you find strength? Because it's in these moments, in these simple digital traces, that we find our way back to ourselves. We find our strength, and we find our healing. So, I invite you to join me on this journey, to embrace the small simple moments that connect us, and to discover the healing power of the digital world. But as I look back on this journey, I can't help but wonder what lies ahead in this digital space. What more is there to discover, to learn, to heal? In the next episode, we'll meet someone whose journey, like mine, has been shaped by the small digital moments that linger long after a loss. Stay tuned, and join me as we continue this journey of healing, reflection, and hope. Because the digital world holds more than just memories, it holds the power to transform us.